Charlie was going up to heaven for a meeting. She was nervous. After all, Adam rejected her. And well, her father always talked bad about heaven. They said they crushed his dreams. Charlie was extremely nervous. As Charlie took a big sigh, she walked in, and she met everyone at the gates of heaven. Everything would go as in canon, but this time, Emily just spoke to her. She seemed like a heaven version of her. She was so always upbeat, always cheery, always ready to help people. It made her, well, excited, really. As things went on, eventually Charlie would present her argument, and all of the angels were against it. All of the angels thought angel dust could not be redeemed. However, there was one who did. Her name was Emily. Emily would say, "Come on, don't you think that?" And she would sing the song like in canon. But at this time, as Charlie and Emily were singing, Emily felt something towards Charlie, and she didn't know she had a girlfriend. She didn't know Vaggie meant that to her. She just thought she was a bodyguard. And as they were singing, Emily held her hand. But Charlie looked at her and said, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I thought that I was just, well, it's just, Adam laughed. "Really? You're gonna fall for that? Ooh, that's gross." It is hot, but it is gross at the same time. Anyway, yeah, she already has a girlfriend. I mean, it doesn't matter since angels are her type anyway. They would look at Vaggie and say, "Do you know what he's talking about?" Vaggie would say, "No, I don't." Adam would just laugh and say, "Don't play dumb. You don't know that she's an angel like us." As suddenly he revealed the wings, as everyone was shocked. Charlie and Vaggie would be sent back down, like in canon, but this time Emily was jealous. All Emily could think about was Charlie. It ringed in her mind how amazing she was, and well, now it was her chance. She could break them up and make it so she's with her, but that wouldn't be right. It wouldn't be right to do such a act like that. So she had to think. She went over and sat down and began to think about what she's gonna do. She began to think about her next move. As Emily thought more and more, she became more and more distrustful towards the order, more distrustful towards heaven. After all, extermination seemed wrong. It seemed wrong to wage war on these innocent people. It seemed wrong to wage war on the ones down below, just because they were different, just because they messed up, unlike the ones above. Emily had to do this. Even though that this might get her kicked out of heaven, this might change everything for her. This might... Emily didn't want to go down below. As much as she was a nice person, she will admit that heaven is far greater than anything down there. However, it was worth the risk to save everyone, to do something right, to do something an angel should do, instead of destroying things. She went over to the weapons and began to slowly sabotage things, as she was going to use her magic to make it so all the weapons will fall apart once they hit someone. The weapons weren't even guarded, since no one would suspect such a sabotage, and barely anyone knew where the weapons were. Emily had to figure this out by using her magic to spy on people. Now that she did it, everyone would be saved, but as she was walking away from it, suddenly she would feel a hand grab her shoulder, as it was Lute. As Lute said, "I can't believe you would do this, betray us all. I knew you disagreed with what we did, but this is too far. I'm gonna turn you in. Maybe you'll be thrown down there like Lucifer." Emily would say, "No, I won't let that happen," as she started to summon her powers and began to push Lute back. As then she looked at all the weapons, and she began to pick them up with her powers and throw them over the holy gates. Discarded them as they fell from the sky. She kept throwing them more and more and more. She had to get rid of them. She had to make sure they couldn't attack. But suddenly, other exorcists would all run and grab her. As she began to struggle, Emily would say, "Let me go." "No, you've gone too far." As Lute would drag Emily to Sarah, Sarah would look at her and slowly walk towards her. "I told you would end up like Lucifer, but you didn't listen." Emily would look right at Sarah. I listen. I know that this
may have been the bad choice of action, but you left me no choice. I kept telling you to call this off. The council all agreed to call it off, but you just ordered us all around like a dictator. The council's supposed to make a group decision, but you made it for all of us. I had no choice but to, Sarah said, I had no choice but to do this. Their population grew more and more and more. For every one person in heaven, 10 people go down there. If we did not do this, they would outnumber us and eventually wipe us out. This cleansing makes sure that we are safe, but you upset the balance of power. I'm sorry,
Emily, but it's over. You are too dangerous to stay here after what you've done. You've committed treason all over again. It's time to leave. You were not the first Seraphim to do this. However, I hope you will be the last. As then, Sarah threw Emily off the pearly gates. As she fell from the graces of heaven, she would hit the floor hard as she would pass out. Later, she would wake up in an unfamiliar bed. As she looked to her right, she saw Charlie. Charlie would look at Emily and smile. Well, I'm glad you're okay. Thank you for doing this. Doing what? Well, I can only assume you helped us. That's why you were thrown down here. As Vaggie said, or she was thrown down here to betray us. Look, Charlie, you can't just... Charlie would say, you were an angel. How do I know that you're not here to betray us? Charlie, that's different. I've been here since... No. You've lied to me all of this time. And now you refuse to help a fellow angel, even though you are one? That's hypocritical. You know what? I thought you were kind. I thought you cared about me. I thought you were overly cautious. But now I see you only care about yourself. Vaggie would say, that's not true. You stayed with me to save your skin. And you didn't want to go up to heaven because you didn't want to get your little secret shown. You've been relying on a lie all of this time, and I'm sick of it. As Charlie began to cry, get out. We're through. Vaggie couldn't believe this. Her whole life shattered. She would cry and run out. As Charlie would simply look down to the ground. Was she making the right decision? Did she do what was right? It just happened so fast. Emily would get up and say, Charlie would say, it's okay, just get better. Charlie would walk out of the room. A part of Emily was happy now. She could be with Charlie. After all, Vaggie was gone, but at the same time, Emily felt sad that this happened to Charlie. Weeks would pass as Emily would retrieve the weapons that were thrown down, and Charlie would gather the army. Everything would happen like in canon, but this time Vaggie would be replaced by Emily. As the times were coming, everyone was in the hotel. This was a day before they attacked. As Angel said, so what happened to Vaggie? Emily would simply stare down, guilty looking, as Charlie would say, we broke up. But I have Emily now, as she held her hand, and they looked at each other. Angel would say, oh, juicy, but there's one little thing. She is a badass, and we kind of need her, so yeah. Alistair would say, don't worry, a Seraphim has lots of power. Besides, you won't need any of that with me. As they all chuckled, they sit down, as they realized that they might die tomorrow. Tomorrow, everything they had, everything they worked for could end. It could all be gone. As the day passed, the battle struck, as exorcists came from the sky. As they all got ready to fight, something was off. You see, Lute came right down for Emily. As Emily looked and said, why are you coming for me? Lute would simply smile. I don't see that little Vaggie, so she must have ran off as you stole her girl. Wah, wah, wah. Oh well, it doesn't matter. I can take you out like this. You betrayed us, and I'll make sure that you never cause us harm again. As they both started the fight, at first, Lute was winning, since even though Emily was far more powerful, she didn't know how to use her powers. But as the fight went on, she began to use her powers more and more and more, until eventually, Lute would lose. She would be destroyed, as she would go in to help Charlie. Everything would play out in canon, as Adam was destroyed, but so was Lute. The exorcists were gone, and they won. It was over. They have won. And Charlie and Emily, they could do their thing. They could be together. True, one thing was destroyed. One relationship was destroyed. So many lives were destroyed. But now, a new one could begin, a new life for both of them. And that is going to leave things off. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And please, please share this with all of your friends. Let them know about the amazing videos I make. And I'm the greatest YouTuber ever. That's a joke. I am far, far from that. I doubt I am anyone's favorite. Let's be honest. But anyway, I'm so glad you watched. And I'm so glad. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I honestly do. And I hope that your day is going amazing. Because I love you all. And, well, peace out. Have an amazing day.